Good morning. It is the 22nd of July, Monday, and this is a supplementary issue of The Drill. And thank you very much. And it's not a supplementary issue, but a supplementary episode. And Greenpeace, plastic Trump straws suck. Blasts sales as shocking. And this is an article from the Washington Times. I was going to read that in my previous episode, and it slipped my mind, so I decided that I'm going to do a supplementary episode of The Drill just to cover this, because it's got some good stuff in it. The article reads as follows. President Trump's decision to sell plastic Trump straws on his campaign website is causing quite the stir among environmentalists. Greenpeace Oceans campaign director John Hocevar blasted the sale of the Trump straws that the president's re-election campaign advertised as necessary because, quote, liberal paper straws don't work, unquote. Quote, Donald Trump has based his entire presidency on lies and divisiveness, so it's no surprise that he's selling plastic straws because his presidency is a cheap throwaway with disastrous long-term consequences, unquote, Mr. Hocevar said in a statement. Quote, as usual, Trump has either missed the point or is outwardly lying to his base, unquote. The vast majority, quote, the vast majority of plastic straws are not recycled in the U.S., which means they end up incinerated, piling up in landfills or polluting our oceans. As communities across the country rally around various plastic bans, understanding that only 9% of all plastic has actually been recycled, Donald Trump is doubling down on preserving a lifeline for his friends in the chemical and fossil fuel industries. Shocking, unquote. The stem of the red straws is laser engraved with Trump. The website says straws are made in the U.S. and cost $15 for a pack of 10. Quote, liberal straws don't work, stand with President Trump and buy your pack of recyclable straws today, unquote, the website says. So, juicy stuff here. Number one, what's really interesting about this is how Mr. Lefty, Greenpeace Oceans campaign director, John Hocevar, first of all, is that he starts to bubble and fizz. He starts doing a little bit of bubbling and fizzing here. He also throws in some liberal talking points that conservatives need to be aware of, because those talking points, of course, get around, and you may end up getting confronted with these talking points, and it's useful to know how to deal with them when you do. So where he starts to bubble and fizz is right here where he says, Donald Trump has based his entire presidency on lies and divisiveness, so it's no surprise he's selling plastic straws because his presidency is a cheap throwaway with disastrous long-term consequences. He said in a statement, as usual, Trump has either missed the point or is outwardly lying to his base. He's really wound up over this. Now we get to the talking points. The vast majority of plastic straws are not recycled in the U.S., which means they end up incinerated, piling up in landfills, or polluting our oceans. He said, as communities across the country rally around various plastic bans, understanding that only 9% of all plastic has actually been recycled. And the best way to handle that is to deny it. The shortest way. If you're sitting down with somebody with a cup of coffee and you have got a little bit of time, you can say, really, where did you get these figures? Where'd you get 9%? Because this guy doesn't identify, this Greenpeace Yahoo never identifies where he gets his figures. The vast majority of plastic straws are not recycled in the U.S. How do you know? How do we know that he's not pulling this? He's asking us to take his word for it. It's a fallacy. Okay, it sounds good on the surface, but it's BS. Where's the proof or the evidence to back that up? 9% of all plastic has actually been recycled. Again, where is the proof or evidence to go ahead and back that up? Now, the shortest way to do it, if you're, let's say, standing in the grocery store, and you want to defeat the statement, is simple. You just say, no, it hasn't. You just deny it, flat out. The vast majority of plastic straws are not recycled in the U.S., which means they end up incinerated, piling up in landfills, or polluting our oceans. No, not true. That's what you say. Sorry, not true. And then when he says that understanding that all 9% of all plastics has actually been recycled, you say, not true. No, it hasn't. And leave it at that. No, it hasn't. Not true. Have a nice day. And then the other interesting part of this is the doubling down. So they throw in a little slogan. They love the term doubling down. And it's a left-wing slogan, and a slogan all conservatives would do well to avoid using. I hear people on the right using the slogan doubling down. So-and-so is doubling down. This isn't, doubling down is a phrase used in blackjack. Okay? If you have 11 showing and you put double your bet, hoping that you're going to get a face card or a 10 so that you get 21. But what we're talking about here is not a card game. It's not a game of chance. It's not a gamble. It's not an issue, I guess, of power or bluffing and counter-bluffing, that type of thing. It's not a game. Okay? So, using the term doubling down is inappropriate. It's also a way of communicating by verbal picture painting, because that's what doubling down does, basically. It creates a verbal picture of somebody playing blackjack and doubling down. And that's backwards. It is the way cavemen communicated with verbal pictures, period, and stories. Telling stories and creating pictures. And modern people communicate with concepts and abstractions. Although creating pictures is more vivid, using concepts and abstractions is more accurate. You're able to communicate much more effectively with concepts and abstractions than you can with pictures. But as part of this is the left's desire to dumb everything down. Dumb it down as low as possible. Treat people as though they're not stupid, but children. Rush Limbaugh, sometimes you'll hear him say, the chickification of the country. In other words, that the left is trying to turn the culture of this country into basically a woman's culture. And it's not true. What they're trying to do is turn everyone into a child. They want everyone to act childish. Because the idea is that the leaders in this country will then act like the parents. And they will go ahead and make the decisions on our behalf. Instead of being independent and we make our own decisions, the leaders will make decisions for us. So, stem of the red straw is laser engraved with Trump. And they're made in the USA and cost $15 for a pack of 10. This is what I've said has been my response to the Trump, or the crisis over the straws, is that it's a bunch of crap. This whole idea started with a picture, a made-up picture, a picture that somebody, they either did, I forget what the program is called, but where they just took a picture of a straw, took a picture of a tortoise, put them together, and to create this picture of some poor tortoise with a straw in its nose. Because it just doesn't make any sense otherwise. And there's no evidence that the picture is genuine, that it's real. A picture of this turtle or turtle, I guess it would be, with a straw in its nose. But that being the case, they go ahead and decide that they're going to go ahead here in the state of California and ban straws. So that, you can, not quite banning them, but basically you can't get a straw automatically. If you go to a fast food restaurant, if you go to a regular restaurant, you order a soda, they're not going to serve it with a straw. You have to ask for it. Delivery is the same way. If you order pizza and a Coke, and you order a fountain drink, and you want a straw with it, you got to put it in your order. I want a straw for the Coke. So the way I deal with that is fine. You want to be like that? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to tell the restaurant I want 2 straws. One straw is going to go in my drink, and the other one I'm going to write Greenpeace on it, and I'm going to throw it in the storm drain. There you go. How about that? And I recommend that all conservatives tell that to your left-wing buddies that get all wound up over straws. Just tell them, hey, you know what? When I go to a restaurant, I get 2 straws. And I use one for the drink, and the other one I write Greenpeace on it and throw it in the storm drain. What about that? There's nothing you can do about it. You can't stop me. And as a matter of fact, if they ban straws in the state of California, I'll get my straws from out of state. I'll buy them from Arizona. If they ban them in the whole country, then I'll get them from internationally. I'll get them from Taiwan or Thailand or Britain or Australia or Venezuela, and I'll do the same thing. For every straw I use, I'm going to have one that I'm going to write Greenpeace on and throw in the storm drain. And the beauty of this is that as a conservative, you don't actually have to do it. You don't actually have to throw anything in the storm drain. Just telling people that you're going to do it plays with their psyche, plays with their mind, which is what they're trying to do to you anyhow. So, yes, good for Donald Trump is another reason I love President Trump. He just doesn't take any crap. He just doesn't take any crap. He knows when people are trying to, get into his psyche and play psychological games with him. And this is his way of demonstrating that it's not going to happen. You're not getting in my psyche. You're not going to play games with me. And here's my Trump straws to show you. And that brings me to the conclusion of this supplementary episode of The Drill. And until next time, thanks for listening and have a great day.